Today, I've got something to confess about Poppin the Boys. I'm Mike Quackenbush, and this is Till We Make It. If you are passionate about the craft of professional wrestling, and you're never done learning all about it, then you've landed in the exact right place, my friend. Go ahead, join the Till We Make It tribe. Subscribe down below. Do all those algorithm-pleasing activities like ringing the notification bell and leaving a like-a-palooza. That would help a lot. If you need to continue to ingest pro wrestling information like every hour of every day, I know where you're at, believe me. So come join us over on Patreon. I have more than 280 posts waiting for you to discover. Exclusive videos, essays, book excerpts, class recordings, and more. And for as little as $5 a month, you're gonna get early access to the videos that end up here on my YouTube channel, as well as to our private Discord chat. I want to head back in time in today's video, back to the 1990s, and all of this was brought on by a conversation I heard about 2 weekends ago at a very small wrestling card. I heard the expression, Poppin the Boys, for the first time in what felt like years. Do you know what I mean by that? If you've never heard that expression before, allow me to explain it very quickly. When you run a spot in the ring, or insert a line into a promo, or pull a rib on someone that is specifically designed to crack up or get a reaction out of the people backstage, you are popping the boys. It's for the people in the locker room, the guys watching on the monitor, the people crowded around the curtain watching the match. It is not for the benefit of the audience. It's not for the benefit of the paying customers in any way, shape, or form. It's totally there as something inside. And just hearing the expression, Poppin the Boys, for the first time in what felt like a very long time, summoned to mind thoughts of the BTS. No, I mean the Black T-Shirt Squad. Back in the late 1990s, and even through the turn of the millennium, my two most frequent traveling mates, being Dirty Don Montoya and the Reckless Youth Tom Carter, and I were collectively referred to as the Black T-Shirt Squad. The BTS. We really should have trademarked that when we had the chance. Together, we not only shared a whole lot of time in cars on the road together, but we also got up to some light mischief. We certainly played our share of ribs, and we all too often indulged in things only designed to pop the boys. So you don't get the wrong idea, I do want you to know, I think there are circumstances, conditions under which it's perfectly acceptable to do things just designed to pop the boys. For example, if I came through the curtain at a show and what I heard playing was
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, everybody in the car, so come on, let's ride to the...
I knew all I had to do was sell that to the audience as if it was exactly what I had chosen as my entrance song for the day, and no one would be any wiser, except of course for the two people who had gone to the music booth and swapped out my actual song for Lou Bega. I hope you'll agree that under certain circumstances, swapping out somebody's entrance music is a relatively innocuous way to pop the boys. Under some circumstances, not all. But as someone who, maybe in mid to late 1999, made his entrance more than once to Mambo No. 5 or a couple times Livin' La Vida Loca or once the Price is Right game show theme, as long as you sold it extra hard to the audience, you could get away with it. You could slide. And having said as much, there are other examples of this kind of behavior which are not so innocuous. They are, to be blunt about it, unprofessional. And I want to confess to you something I participated in, which I think, unfortunately, belongs in that second category. This is unprofessional. 2 quick disclaimers before we dive in. Number 1, Tom, Don, and I have all grown up a lot since then. And second, apologies to Dynamite Dean. Dean, if you are watching, we shouldn't have named this spot after you. I'm sorry. I am a little reluctant to confess that there's plenty of tape out there of various members of the Black T-shirt squad running what we called the Dynamite Dean spot in front of paying customers. And this was something designed just to crack us up. And it looked something like this. If I snatched a headlock on Tom Carter, and he backed me to the ropes and pushed me off, when I came back, we'd meet in the middle for a shoulder tackle. And as I took off to hit the ropes, Tom would drop down. He'd be flat. And then I would immediately change directions. I'd two-step up to the middle turnbuckle and dive out with a crossbody onto no one, because Tom was still dropped down. He was laying flat on the mat. And I would just crash and burn on my face and then scramble over and try to recover while we chuckled. And this was something we did again just to pop each other. It was just to get a laugh out of the people watching on the monitor in the back. And if you understand much of anything related to the performance of pro wrestling, you know that what I just described mechanically is nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. To be plain about it, we ran that spot in a lot of towns, and we didn't do it because it made our matches better. If anything, it left the audience wondering, what is wrong with these morons? As I said, it was utter nonsense. We did it to crack each other up, and we did it because we were d***s. Believe it or not, there is a lesson to be learned here. I'm not sharing this story just because I'm especially self-effacing today. I think when you are choosing whether or not to design or execute something that is really just to pop the boys, you gotta ask yourself two questions first. Number one, will this dispel the illusion of conflict? Will it effectively shatter the experience the audience is having by investing in the match? Because if that is true, I think you are diminishing the value of the ticket that they bought. They are not getting the show that they paid for. And I do think such a decision is unprofessional. And I'm telling that to you as someone who quite guiltily has made that exact mistake in the past. And second, does this undermine the point of the match, the card, or the angle? Because if so, then you are diminishing the work of the entire ensemble for the sake of cracking up the boys. And I do think that is also unprofessional. If you're hearing that and you're thinking to yourself, Mike, what does that even mean, undermining the goal of the match? Well, keep this in mind. The goal of a comedy match is very different from the goal of a blow-off match at the end of a program. They are designed differently, they serve different purposes. There is a certain drudgery to endless touring, and yeah, there's a real tedium to constantly being on the road. I get it, believe me. And sometimes doing something that's just to lighten the mood, it's just to pop the boys backstage, it has a time and it has a place. But that's a specific time and place. And that's why I wanted to share with you an example from my own career that I think falls on the wrong side of that fence. I want you to have that understanding and remember those two questions so that you never come back from the ring to find that the boss is furious with you and maybe you're out of a job because of something you elected to put on stage that was really only there to crack you up and a couple of your buddies. If you want to go even deeper into the do's and don'ts of performing professional wrestling, you got to check out my book. 7 Keys to Becoming a Better Performer will supercharge the next series of matches you are having. It's a quick enough read, you could be done with it in a single weekend, and I guarantee you, you will leave with all kinds of new ideas and concepts to try out the very next time you step in the ring.